Okay, welcome back everyone to this amazing session. So finally we are starting with Java. I know we are a bit late. I was doing some setup and then the OBS and everything was not set up properly. So it took some time, but finally I'm here and let's get started with this Java course. Now this is the day one for this Java course. So of course we'll start with Menti first. Remember from last 2 weeks. Oh, the video is playing here itself. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, great. Audio is good, everything is good. So yeah, so from last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we are doing this Mentimeter and we are enjoying it, right? And the idea was to start with Java course so that I can teach you Java from start. And we'll go towards, we'll try to complete the entire core Java in this next 15 days. So this day one, every day we'll be having 1 hour session. As of now, the timing is 7 to 8. It might change depending upon some conditions. So here we go. So first of all, good evening, everyone. Doesn't matter from where you're watching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I can see some people are from different country. That's great, different time zone. So let me know in the chat window how excited you are to start with this Java course. Awesome. So the first step I will be doing here is I will be running you through this Mentimeter. So just to get started. So let me just take it somewhere. Okay, so what is Mentimeter? So Mentimeter is a place where you can play quizzes. So of course, in every session, we'll try to have at least one quiz. And today there will not be any prizes for the Menti, but after this session, maybe tomorrow we'll have some quizzes ready for you. Okay, so I will be sharing my screen so you can join this Menti. So I will be doing it now. Okay, I will give you more updates on the course later, but as of now, I want everyone to join this session and they can do that. And YouTube normally takes some time to share the details, right? So we'll start with Menti and then we'll jump around to the actual course. Great. So everyone, please join and hit that like button if you're excited for the Java course. And I can't read your chat. What's wrong with that? Okay, let me just keep the chat ready here. Okay, everyone, please join Menti and we'll play a small game. I'm not even sure if the questions and answers are properly configured. I just created the Menti in last 10 minutes, so I know that's weird. Okay, everyone, do join the Menti and then we'll start with the questions and then we'll start with the core concepts of Java. Okay, now since I'm expecting that you don't know much about programming language or Java specifically, so we'll keep this Menti very light. So here we go. If you want to join Menti, how do you do that? If you're new to Menti, it's very simple. You just have to go to menti.com and enter this code, or you can use your phone and scan this QR code. So let's start with this question. Name your city from where you're watching this. Okay, so majority I can see is Hyderabad, Bangalore. That's great. Delhi, Cuttack. What else? Tirupati, great. Rohtak, Nellore. Oh, that's great. That's great. So a lot of people are from different places. And I can see more than 250 people are already watching this. That's crazy. Or 300 people are on Menti, and then we have a lot of people watching this on YouTube. Okay, Akshay says all 15 days would be broadcasted on YouTube. That's right. See, once we start the session, I will not be able to see the chat more because I want to focus on the concept, but I can address your questions as of now by the time we are playing this Menti. Okay, so I can see majority is Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Pune, Kakinada. Great. Okay, with this, let's start with the quiz. In fact, we have one more. So before we start with the quiz, I just want to know to whom I'm teaching Java. Is it very fresher? So rate yourself. So what is Java means you don't know what Java is. It's very new for you. Basic concepts are, if you know what is programming language, if you know what is variables, methods, oops concept, that is basic. If you are already a Java developer, you can say I'm a Java developer. I mean, you know Core Java, you might be working on some framework, and you are here to revise your concepts. And this session will be very helpful for revision as well. And maybe, you sometimes we think we know things, but then there might be some one new concept for you, and that's important. And there are people who are experts in Java, who are Elon Musk. That's great. Awesome. Awesome. So majority here knows the basics. Okay, so we'll keep that in that way. And don't worry if you are new to Java, I will make sure that you understand the concepts properly. Is it for beginners? Yes, it's for beginners. We'll start from very basic knowledge. Okay, great. So majority I can see is some people who know basic. That's great. Okay, now we are starting with our first question. So make sure that you give your proper name. Don't enter any weird name. Make sure that you give your own name. And by the time you're entering that, I just have one announcement. So this weekend, we have another hackathon at iNeuron. The way we did last Saturday, it was with GitHub. This time we are doing it with JetBrains, and the programming language is Kotlin. Now, these sessions will be helpful for the Kotlin hackathons as well. So make sure that you learn Kotlin and you can participate in the hackathon, which is happening this weekend. Okay, if you still want to join Menti, you can go to menti.com and you can see the code up here. It's 17171640. Can you Harsh, can you copy the link and paste it in the chat? See, Menti link is there, right? It's top. It's on the top here. 17171640. Okay, so here we go. The first question coming on your screen, and the first question is, who is the father of www? Come on, everyone. I can see majority of you already voted. It's more than 400 votes. Great. And okay, majority of you are saying Henry. That's not the answer. The answer is Tim Berners-Lee. He's the father of www. And father of computer is Charles Babbage. Okay, no issue. Okay, next question coming on your screen. Okay, what is the initial name of JavaScript? We are not talking about Java now, we are talking about JavaScript. Okay, by the time you answer that, there's a question. Sir, take interview questions also. Yeah, that's the plan. We'll also do some interview questions, don't worry. And the project, in this entire course, there will be a lot of projects which we are going to talk about. Okay, and let's see what you answer. Okay, majority of you are saying LiveScript. No, that's not the answer. The answer is Mocha or Mocha. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Mocha. And ECMA is actually a standard for JavaScript. ECMAScript, that's the standard. Okay, let's go for the leaderboard. Let's see who is doing well here. And always make sure that you give your proper name so that I can pronounce it. Example here we got Sai, Ritik. We got Wolf Mister. So make sure that you give your proper name. This is actually auto-assigned name by Mentimeter. Sandeep, and then we got a lot of people there. Okay, great. So with this, let's go for the next question. We just want to finish Menti fast so that we can focus on the core concepts. Okay, what is the latest standard of Wi-Fi? Is it Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 4? None of this. Okay, 7 seconds more. And by the time you answer that, let me take up some questions from this knife. Okay, it's Wi-Fi 6. That is correct. None of the above. Are you waiting for, are you talking about Wi-Fi 7 or Wi-Fi 8? No, which one it is there? Okay, fourth question coming on your screen. Which of the following programming language is used to create programs like Applet? Now, this is for those people who says they are Java developer or they are Elon Musk. This is not for fresher. So even if you're a fresher, just try to guess. Maybe you don't know about what is applet is here. So is it built with the help of COBOL, C language, Java, Basic? What do you think? Okay, majority of you are saying Java, and that is correct. So basically, applets are web components, which is built using Java. Now it is outdated. We have a replacement for that, so no one is using applet as of now. Okay, fifth question, or we have a leaderboard. Okay, let's see. Sai is doing well. No, Sai will be good. Will be going down now. Who is coming on top this time? Okay, we got Sandeep. Congrats, Sandeep. Sandeep, Sai, Harsh. Harsh, you? No, you're not. You're not joined, right? Okay, nothing. Okay, next question. Fifth, two more questions to go, and let's see if we can be on top here. Number of layers in OSI model. Come on, this should be easy. In fact, we did the same questions in the hackathon last time, and since I was having that PPT, I just used it. Okay, let's see what you say. 7 seconds to go. OSI layer. Come on, we have how many layers? I hope you also remember the names. So make sure in the chat window also mention the names of those layers. Majority of you are saying 7. That is correct. Now, why this question is important is because as a developer, you should know everything about computer. I mean, the hardware, the software, the networking concepts. And that's what makes you a good developer. And question 6 coming on your screen. And here we go. Last question. Come on, do it fast. Number of bits used by IPv6. So we are using IPv4, IPv6. So what are the bits we required here? Okay, almost 500 people voted. That is awesome. See, if you enjoyed this type of session, hit that like button as well. That's what motivates me. And we have a 15 days of Java session, right? And just want to be motivated. So make sure that you hit that like button. Okay, and majority of you are saying 128-bit, and that is correct. And let me know in the chat window what is the bit for IPv4. And now it's time to see the leaderboard, and let's see the leaderboard here. Okay, and there are some changes. We got Harsh on top. Congrats, Harsh. Unfortunately, in this Menti, there was no prizes, so okay. We got Arnab Ghosh on second. We got Rohan, Neeraj, Ganesh, S. Lohit, Mansha. We got Ritik, Aaron. Hey, Aaron was there last time as well, and Akhilesh. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And now it's time to start the concept, the basic concept of Java. Okay. Even before we do that, let me take you to the syllabus, what we're going to discuss. Of course, you might have seen it in the description of the last video, but I wanted to show you the syllabus. By the time I'm not sharing my screen as of now, don't worry. I'll just share it in few seconds. I just want to take you to the courses. Okay, if you can see, we can see our syllabus here. Where is that? Where is the, okay. So if you go to this website, courses.ininon.ai, this is our entire syllabus, and most of the content will be available in the dashboard. And this is free. Okay, so you don't have to pay anything here. It is free. Say enroll now, and after every session, the PPTs, the questions, the quiz, the project, everything will be available in this particular page. Okay, so maybe I will should. Harsh, can you just comment these? Okay, maybe I will do it. I'm not sure if Harsh has the access to it. Okay, so I have shared the link in the description or in the chat window. Awesome. Okay, so what is the agenda for today? So of course, we'll not be directly jumping into variables and operators. Let's talk about Java as a programming language. Okay, and I'm not a big fan of what do you say, PPTs, but just to get started, this will be, I guess, hardly 1 or 2 times we are going to use PPT, but just to get started, just to show you how things looks like, we'll start with a PPT. And here we go. So just wanted to give you the basic introduction of Java. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Okay, great. So let's talk about this language, which is Java, and let me know in the chat window if at any point you can't see my screen, and I will just make the changes. Okay, so let's start with a language which is Java. So what is Java? Now this is the logo for Java, and Java is a very famous language everywhere. In fact, if you go to the interviews, most of the time they will ask you Java questions. So we are going to start with this concept, with this language, which is Java. Now, just to give you some background, so let's talk about the Java background here. Now, who is a parent company of Java? It is Sun Microsystem. Now, Sun Microsystem is a very old company. In fact, currently it is taken over by Oracle. It all started, specifically with Java, it all started in early 90s. In fact, by 1991, they had Java ready, but then they were using it for internal purpose, and the language name was not Java before. So it has a different language name. Let me know in the chat window if you know the language name. And later on, so initially they have a different name, and then they changed it to Java because most of the developers, they were coffee lovers, and then one of the island where Java is very famous, in fact the coffee is very famous, is Java, and that's why they have taken this name Java. And initially they released it, I mean it was using it for their own purpose, but then by 1995 they released the first version of Java publicly, and it was 1995 year, and from that time Java is famous. So in the interviews, in the project, everywhere we are using Java. I'm talking about the big companies, okay? I'm not talking about startups because startup culture is different. In big companies, they are still working on Java. So it's been 27 years now. We have Java and it's still working good. And that's right. In the chat window, you are saying it is Oak, and that is correct. The language is Oak. The name is Oak before Java. Okay, the current company of Java is Oracle. Initially, it was Sun Microsystem, but now it's Oracle. And now let's talk about key facts. Now, Java is object-oriented. So if some is, one of the feature, when someone is talking about Java, and then when you talk about features, the first thing comes to our mind is it is object-oriented. But as of now, since we are new, we'll not talk about what is object, what is OPS here. But remember this thing, Java is object-oriented. The next best concept here is Java is platform independent. Now, why it's called platform independent, that we'll see in some time. But Java is platform independent, two important feature. And whenever when you open your, when you install JDK for the first time, and when the installation is happening, you might have seen this image, right? 3 billion devices runs on Java, and it is still happening. I'm not sure if the number of devices went up, but it's still there. Okay, and Java is secure, Java is simple, Java is powerful, and the best thing about Java, it has a huge community support. Now, Java is one of the field where you will, if you get stuck somewhere, we have good amount of answers on Stack Overflow, we have good amount of projects on GitHub, we have good trainers who can teach Java well, and everything is there. In fact, we have good books as well. So whenever you have a good community support, you will not get stuck anywhere. That's what Java promises here. And in the chat, people are talking about Voda. That's right. It is write once and run anywhere. Great. Now, where we can use Java? Now, Java can be used everywhere. It can be used for mobile application. It can be used for desktop application. It can be used for web application and database connection, so on. Now, currently, it is very famous in the world of web. The enterprise web I'm talking about. And the framework which I'm currently working on is Spring. But again, that's a huge step we are going to take, right? So this is the basic concept. And we'll come back to the this platform independence term a bit later. So as of now, we are done with this. Okay. See, now if we talk about today's agenda, it's very crisp. We'll not be doing much today because this is our first session. So we'll start with the installation first. I mean, of course, in your system, you need something, right? So we'll add those things. So, but what exactly things we need here? Okay, so before we do that, let me take up some questions. Your image is coming between PPT, sir, is it? Is it hiding? Okay, we'll make sure that I will keep myself on the right hand side. Is this tutorial series available for future? That is right. After this session, the recording will be available in future as well. Okay. Again, just to reiterate, hit that like button if you are enjoying this type of sessions. Okay, I should be on this side, right? We'll do this works. Okay. Now, first of all, why do we need a language? Now, see, if we talk about this software industry, now software industry is there from a long time. So when I say long time, it's only been how many years now? Okay, let me just do some setup here. Yeah. So the software industry is a bit new, right? It's only been maybe 30 years, I can say. So it's only been 30 years we are into the software domain. But before that, it was more about people were working with mainframe machines. But then the software industry is booming. So it's now almost 30 years software industry is booming. And in this software, when you talk about software industry, what we do. So basically in this world, we have problems, right? So we have a lot of problems and then we are trying to solve those problems. So we are trying to find the solutions. We want to solve it with the help of software. Now let me give an example how it solves. Example, let's say if you want to book a cab, if you want to take a cab to go somewhere. Now instead of going on the street and stopping a cab, you can just take a mobile phone and you can open an app. You can open an application like Uber or Ola and you can book a cab there. What if you want to order something online? I mean, if you want to get something, you can just go to Amazon.com. You can order stuff there, right? So everything which you are trying to, everywhere where you get stuck somewhere, we have a solution in the format of software. Now, people were doing different way initially. We had different languages. I don't know if you know about these languages like Fortran. Then we got a language like COBOL, and then we got this amazing language called, I'm not sure if you know about this language name. It's called C. Of course, everyone knows about C, right? And the founder of C is Dennis Ritchie. Now C got very famous. Then we got C++. And then all these languages were great. The only problem with all these languages were, in fact, let's not talk about problem. Let's talk about the features. Now, C is one of the most structured language I have seen anywhere. I mean, everything there makes sense. Even if you use a single line, it is almost self-explanatory, and you know what it's doing, right? Now, the thing is, when you work with C language, what happens is you write a source code, right? I mean, you write a code. So this is your code. And this code will be executing on something called a machine. This is a computer. And this is where your code will execute. The only problem here, which I can see, is this code, I mean, this computer only understands one language, which is 1 and 0, which is the binary format. So by default, your computer understands only one language, which is ones and zeros. That means if you want your computer to do something, you need to instruct it. And that's what, right? So people normally call computers as great machines. They are intelligent. They're not. They are dumb machines. Computers are dumb machines. They do only those things which we say, which we ask them to do. And that's actually a problem. How will you ask your computer to do something? And that's where you will write a code. You will write a code which will go to your computer and it will execute. Now, the problem which we mentioned before is when you mention this code, will you write this code in ones and zeros? Of course not, right? You can't talk in this language ones and zeros. So as a human, you understand one language, which is maybe English. So basically you have to find a way to write English like language and which will get converted into ones and zeros. So when I say you have to code, you will code that in an English format and then you will make it work. So basically, your code will be almost like an English language. So this code now will not be in ones and zeros. This will be in English. And this will get executed on this machine. And for that, you have to convert this. So this type of converting is we do with the help of compiler. Okay, so we'll use compiler to do that. And C works in that way. Now we have one more issue. Now, if we talk about this computer, let's generalize the term called platform here. Normally, when you say computer, it is a hardware, right? I just want to combine the OS as well. So let's say we have an operating system. I'm audible, right? Okay. So let's say we have an operating system and we have a hardware, maybe in Windows on a hardware. Now that's a platform. So example, if you use a language like C, C is a great language. Okay. It's one of my favorite language. Now, the only problem with languages like C or C++ or maybe I forgot which other languages we have for that in that matter. But when you talk about this type of languages, what happens is when you write a code in C language, it gets converted into a binary file. And this binary file will work on this machine. Okay, it only works on this machine, specific to this platform. The moment you have a new machine with a new platform, the same code will not work. The same code will not work. And that's why we say the language C is platform dependent. And this C was a great language, right? They were using it for 20 years. And then they felt, hey, we are missing something. Can we create a language which is platform dependent, platform independent? That means if you write a code once, you don't have to recompile. The issue with C language is you have to compile it for this machine, you have to compile it for this machine, you have to compile for some other machine. So can we have a language, if you write a code, you will compile this code once. So you will compile this code once, and then you can use the same code on multiple machines. So if you can do that, we can say this platform or these languages are platform independent. And that's where they came up with this language called Java. So basically Java is platform independent and C is platform dependent. Okay, so it doesn't matter how good a line I draw, there will be a line cutting it. Oh, it doesn't matter. So basically if we talk about C, C is platform dependent. C is platform dependent and Java is platform independent. But then how exactly it works? Can we just write code once and it works on all the platform? I mean, it works on Windows, that's great. It works on Mac, that's great. If it works on any other OS, that's great. But how? There's a twist here. The twist I will show you in the PPT, but there's a twist. Okay. Okay, let me just walk through the PPT once again. And don't worry, all these things will be available in your in the dashboard, which I mentioned before. And I will share the dashboard link in the description once this video is live. Okay, so we have talked about the background, right? Now let's understand how a language gets converted. Now imagine a source code. Now this source code can be any language, okay? This can be C, C++, Java. Normally we write a code, and since ignore the class there, it can be any source code, any other language as well. But specific to Java, we normally create classes, right? So what we do is we name a class first, we name a file. So let's say the file name is alien.java. And if you don't know, normally I call my students or my colleagues as aliens. The reason I call them as aliens is because when we write codes, when we write softwares, basically we don't solve the issue in the real world. Of course, the problem is of real world, but we solve that problem in the virtual world, right? Example, if we talk about Ola, Uber, Amazon, and all these applications, they don't actually work in real life, right? They have a virtual solution to it. And since we live in a different world, we live in a virtual world, I call myself as alien because I'm in a different world compared to humans. So maybe in the entire course, we'll be using this term as aliens a lot. Okay, let's go for the... Okay, what happens? So when you have this Java code, and if you want to make it work, the first thing you will do is you will compile it. So this is your compiler. This is your Java compiler. And once you compile your code, imagine this is a C language. So what happens is it will give you a binary code which you can directly run on your machine. But Java does not work in that way. Java says if you want the output to be running on different machines, I directly can't do that. So what it does is it gives you a intermediate file, which is a byte code. Okay, this is not a binary file. Okay, this is a byte code. Now, even if you try to open the bytecode, you will not understand anything. So don't even try to open the bytecode. But this is a bytecode. And the weird stuff is you can't run this. Okay. I mean, think about this. You are writing a code in Java, then you're compiling it, and then you get a bytecode. And now I'm saying you can't run it. That's weird, right? Yeah, that's right. You can't directly run it. What you need is you need an interpreter in between. So basically, you need a system where you will run this code. And that is your JVM. Now, JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So this is a machine where you run your bytecode. Okay. So we can say it's an interpreter because it directly interprets the code, whatever you get, and then it will run on your machine. Okay. So just to reiterate, what happens here is we have a Java class which gets compiled and you will get a bytecode. This bytecode is not runnable directly on the hardware or the OS. You need something in between, and that is your JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. It's a virtual machine on top of your OS where you can run your Java code, in fact, your Java bytecodes. Now, people do ask me, hey, C is compiled language, right? What about Java? Java is actually both. We are doing two things here. First, we are compiling it, and then we are interpreting it. So when you compile, you get your bytecode, and then you can interpret it, and you will get your output. And this output will be running on OS. Now, I have a question for everyone. So you can use your chat window and mention this. If I say Java is platform independent, what is JVM? Is JVM platform independent or platform dependent? Okay, by the time you answer that, I have a comment from Mayur. Mayur says deep thought. That's right. That's a very deep thought. That's right. JVM is platform dependent. So that's the answer from Apurva. That's right. So JVM is platform dependent. It's because when you go to the website to download JVM, it will ask you to choose which OS you have. And you can't run JVM on any other OS. I mean, it works on Windows, it works on Mac, it works on Linux. You can't install JVM on iOS, right? So basically, you can't run Java code on iOS. I know that's weird. But JVM is dependent, Java is independent, okay? And what makes Java independent is JVM. So in your machine, if you have JVM, you can run Java. As simple as that. So I hope you got some idea from this. Now, once we have enough of theory, let's talk about what are the steps you have to follow. Okay. So come on, everyone, if you just joined this, we are doing this Java live sessions. And if you are enjoying these sessions, hit that like button. Okay, that's very important. This is what motivates me to make more, to do more live sessions. Awesome. The next thing we are going to do today is we will be doing this setup. So what are the setup we need here? Basically, we need a very small setup. So the first thing we need is compiler. Remember when we talked about the things, we need a compiler. So we'll take it here. So basically we need a compiler. Now what compiler does, it converts your Java code into a bytecode. Then we also need a JVM, a runner, basically interpreter. So compiler we will get from JDK. Then we need an interpreter. And we need JVM as well. What else we need? So we need a place where we can type a code, right? Basically, we need an editor. Now we can use any editor, which is your favorite. So you can mention in the chat window, which is your favorite editor where you type code. Of course, you can use Notepad here. Okay, if you have, otherwise you can use a lightweight EDI like Sublime or lightweight editor like Sublime. And what else we can use here? We can use some advanced editors. We are going to use, most of the time, we are going to use VS Code. And after that, once we start with the basic, we will be moving towards one of the best IDE for Java. Now, I know if you are new to this IDE world, it's very simple actually. IDE stands for it's Integrated Development Environment. Now, what it means? See, when you type a code, you do multiple steps, right? First, you type the code, then you compile the code, then you run the code, and the most important thing in the world of programming is debugging. And you can do that in here as well. So in the IDE, you can do everything. And since we talked about debugging, if you know what debugging is, that's great. If you don't know what debugging is, when you write a code, you make mistakes, right? You make mistakes. Your code might not work in the same way you wanted. I'm not talking about syntactical issues here. I'm talking about runtime issue. Example, you are trying to do 2 plus 2. The answer which you got is 5. Of course, you got the answer, but the answer is wrong. There's a bug there. Maybe you're trying to click a button, but nothing is happening. After 2 or 3 clicks, it opens. There's a bug there, right? So debugging means removing bugs. So if debugging is removing bugs, then what is coding? Come on, use your chat window and tell me what is coding. If debugging is removing bugs, what is coding? So by the time you do that, let me add a IDE. So a place where you can do everything. In fact, for Java world, we have a lot of IDEs available. One of them is Eclipse. And I have worked on a lot on Eclipse in my career. So you can use Eclipse or you can use NetBeans, which is very famous. But in the enterprise market, which is getting more famous, is IntelliJ. So IntelliJ IDEA is very, very great IDE to work with. Okay, so IntelliJ IDEA is a great IDE to work with. Now, the only thing is when you talk about IntelliJ IDEA, it has 2 versions. One is community version, which is free, and a paid version. Now, the paid version it's called Ultimate version. It has all the feature required. The only thing it is paid. And if you want it for free, we have a hackathon on 18th of June. It is from JetBrains JetBrains, and the language is Kotlin, and you might receive the license for that. And to get more information on that, let me share. Maybe you can just go to Hackathon Eineron. Search for Eineron Hackathon. Eineron Hackathon. I will share that link in the description or in the chat window. So there's a hackathon going on and you can participate there. Okay, so I got answer for my first question. So if debugging is removing bugs, what is coding? People are saying, debugging is removing bugs, though. So what is coding? Coding is adding bugs. That's right. Okay, so I was just kidding. Coding is actually building softwares, but then if you're going that way, we can say that. Awesome. Cool. Let me also share a thing here. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. So this is the hackathon page. I have shared the link in the description. You can participate in the hackathon. And this hackathon is by JetBrains. You can see we have some amazing prizes. So check out this page for more information. Okay, so basically we are going to use IntelliJ IDEA. So the softwares we need here is we have to install JDK. We'll install JVM. We need IntelliJ IDEA as well. But now it's also important to specify the version number, which version we are going to use. So for JDK, we are going to install JDK 17, but for learning purpose, we are going to only focus on Java 8 versions or Java 8 features because that is highly used JDK version in the industry. Okay, awesome. So basically we have, we'll be installing JDK 17. Now, amazing thing is when you install JDK, you will also get JVM, the updated version of JVM, and we'll use that. We'll also need VS Code, and the software we are going to use for IDE is IntelliJ. So for that, let's get started. Okay. So the first thing we need is JDK download. So we'll say JDK download. Now it will take you to the official website of Oracle. You can just go there and you can download. Now the amazing thing is somewhere in between, Oracle made JDK as paid version, but now after Java 17, you will get JDK for free. Okay, so now let's, in fact, for personal use, for not for the corporate use. So just go there and you can download this JDK version. So make sure that before the next session, you have this set up in your machine. So based on which OS you use, if you're using Windows, you can select this. If you're using Mac, select this. If you are using Linux, you have to install this. But how will you even verify if you have Windows, your JDK 7 in your machine? So what you can do is you can open your command prompt or maybe terminal in case of Mac. And you can just type Java -- version and enter. And you can see in my machine I already have JDK installed. So make sure that you click on this link and say install. Now, one thing to remember, if you are using Windows, then you have to also add a path. Now, I will show you that path in the next session, or maybe I will make a small video. How do we add a path? And then you can watch it. Okay. So there's a question from Mihir. Please explain difference between JDK, JVM, and GRA. We're going to do that in next session. So I want to go step by step. Will not jump around. I just want to take in a good flow. Okay. And this session will be available after this session as well. Don't worry. Okay, this will be available offline. So this is a JDK you have to install. The next thing you have to install in your machine is VS Code. So you can simply say VS Code download. And this is a website. Just go there and download VS Code. So depending upon which version, which OS you're using, Windows, Linux, or Mac, install it. Okay, once you have these two software, the next thing we need here is IntelliJ IDEA. So just go to the browser and say IntelliJ IDEA. Now this software is from JetBrains, so you can see that. And you can click on download. Now it has two options. One is ultimate and one is community version. You can download community version for free. If you want the ultimate version, just participate in the hackathon coming this week and maybe you will win the license for that. Okay, click on download and you will get the IntelliJ IDEA on your machine. It's very simple step. Click next, next, next. It will do the setup for you. Okay, once you have these three things in your machine, let's get started. Okay, yeah. I think it is full screen now. Okay, there's a question timing for daily class. It will be happening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. IST. It might change in future. If I will do one more poll after some time, and if that works, we'll do that. Okay. Okay, so we have talked about this, right? We need to have JDK Java version installed. Now, one of the thing, one of the complaint from the people, for everyone to learn, to not learn Java is difficult to learn. It's not the case. Java is not difficult. I feel Java is one of the easiest language to master. And one of the comparison they have is if you want to run Hello World code in Java, you need to write 5 to 6 lines of code. But in Python, you can do that in 1 line. How about this? How about if I write a Java code to print Hello World in 1 line? What do you think? Is it possible? Can I print Hello World in Java with just 1 line of code? Come on, come on, come on. What do you think? And I can see a lot of people, almost 1,000 people are watching this live. Hit that like button, everyone, if you are enjoying this session. And you can also answer, can we write Java code in 1 line to print Hello World? Okay. Okay, some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. And the answer is yes. So in Java 9, we got this feature called JShell. Now, if you want to test out some small feature, we can simply run JShell. So make sure that you install JDK 11 or JDK 17 or JDK 9. JDK 9 is not available, I guess. Install JDK 11 or 17. Don't go below that. And you will get this option of JShell. Just say enter JShell and it will open a new prompt. So JShell is Java shell. And everyone, please concentrate on the concept because tomorrow we have one more Menti. So tomorrow's session will start with Menti, and if you win that Menti, you will get prizes. And this Menti will be based on all the information which I shared in this session. Okay, so I know excited. Okay, so what I will do here is I want to write one line of code to print hello world. Now the way you do that in Java is first let me just type this statement, and we'll talk about this later, what this line means and how exactly it works. Why do we need system? Why do we need out? Everything will be coming. But if you want to print hello world, just say system.out.println and say hello world, and your job is done. You see that? We got hello world. Okay, this is working. Okay, now don't complain that Java is difficult and then in Python we can do it in one line. In Java we can't do that. We can do this, right? So just open JShell and you can write one line of code. Okay, which version to download? Now if you are doing it now, go for Java 17. There's a question from Shravan, why there's a different version of JDK? The answer is very simple, right? Every time you have new updates, and new updates will be coming in new version. Currently in the industry, they are still on Java 8, but we got Java 18 as well. But not every version will get a long-term support. Only Java 8, Java 11, Java 17 has a long-term support. There's a question from Deepak, what's the use of JShell? See, JShell is a REPL. REPL is basically a place where you can test your code. It's not a place where you write the entire software. This is just for testing purpose, just for learning purpose. It's there in different languages like Python as well. In Java, they call it as JShell. So if you want to learn, if you want to experiment, just open JShell and type the code. Okay, awesome. Yes, this session will be available on the channel after this session. So make sure that once we complete this session, you can rewatch it. Okay, so we have done it here, right? But how about if you do it in a different IDE? So let's use VS Code to type the same code. So I will open my VS Code, and that is okay. So this is how VS Code looks like if you open this for the first time. And let me create a new file. We will just open a folder. I will say open folder. Let me create a new folder for Java course. Open. Okay, so this is where we'll create our new file. So I will click on this new file. Maybe I'll just do it from here itself. New file, and we'll name this file. Remember when I showed you the PPT, we talked about a file name. The file name normally goes with .java. Example, when you create HTML page, you say .html. For C#, we say .cs. For C, we say .c. For C++, we say .cpp. For Java, we say .java. And we'll name this file as hello.java, a simple file name. Okay, question from Lohit, which IDE to be used? Initially, we'll start using VS Code, and later we'll move towards IntelliJ IDEA. Okay, so this is where you're typing your code, right? This is where you will first write your first code. It's very simple, actually. You can open this and write your first code. Now, how will you write a code? What I want to write here? I want to print hello, or maybe hello world. And that's how you inaugurate any programming language, right? So you can't do anything else. First, you have to start with hello world. So you can simply say hello world. That's it. Just save this code and run this. It's that simple. How will you run this? It's very simple. Open terminal. This is your terminal, right? Now the code, the source code name is hello.java. So we have to do in 2 steps. Remember the PPT? The first step is to compile this code. The second step is to run this code. 2 steps. Compile the code, run the code. Now to compile this code, what I will do is I will say Java C. So we have to use Java compiler, which is Java C, and mention the file name, which is hello.java. So simply say Java C hello.java and say enter. You will get an error. So basically your compiler is giving you some bad words. It says, hey, what is hello? See, every programming language will have some syntax to it. It's like learning a new language. Example, let's say if you speak English, if you speak Hindi, and if you want to explore a South Indian language, and normally my friends do that with me. So let's say if you want to learn Telugu, that's my native language, and so normally what you do is whenever you learn a new language, you basically try to work with few words. Example, how do you pronounce? I mean, first of all, people do start with learning bad words, right? But we'll not do that online on this live stream. Uh, okay, Circle says bad words. I'm talking about the errors. Okay, so in languages, we learn different stuff, right? Example, we learn about how do we say I love you? How do we say had your lunch or something like that? So let's say I will give you a statement and try to explain you what that statement is. If Telugu people are watching this, hit that like button. Annam tinnava. Okay, now Annam tinnava, if you don't know what this means, it's very simple. Annam tinnava means have you had your food? Simple stuff. Or had your food. Okay, but then you can't learn the entire sentence, right? So let me explain each term here. So I can say Annam is food. Tinnava is have you had it? Simple. And then we got some answer as well. So basically you learn each word, right? Annam is food. Tinnava is have you had it? Simple. Now I'm giving you some new sentence. Try to translate this. Na peru Navin Reddy. Now try to translate that in English. Come on, you can't learn everything in one go, right? So basically you are learning two languages at the same time, Java and Telugu. So Na peru Navin Reddy simply means my name is Navin Reddy. So basically what you do is you try to convert each word. So na peru, my name, Navin Reddy. So my name, Navin Reddy, right? But then you don't try to convert Navin Reddy. You're just converting the keywords. So na, my, peru, Navin. But then you don't convert Navin Reddy. Navin Reddy stays as it is. In the same way, when you write a programming language, when you write a code, your compiler will try to convert each keywords, each word which you write. And then when your compiler says, hey, what is hello here? What is world here? I don't understand these things. So I have to say, hey, compiler, don't worry. You don't have to convert this thing. You just have to say double quotes and double quotes. Print this as it is. Don't try to convert this. So na peru double quotes Navin Reddy. So it will not try to convert Navin Reddy there. Okay, so Circle says, will we get Telugu questions in tomorrow's quiz? Maybe, you never know what type of questions you will get. Okay. Okay, so Mayu says in Gujarati we say Jami Lidu. Is it Jami Lidu? Jami Lidu Navin Reddy. Nice. Okay, so basically I want to say, hey, don't try to convert this. You just take it and print it as it is. And now when I compile, again it says there's a problem. So what is the problem? See, Java is a language, right? And using Java, you are giving instruction to your machine. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm not sharing my screen, right? Okay, I'm doing that now. Okay, so basically, we're just putting double quotes here and it will still not work. So what you have to do is you have to instruct your compiler, hey, it's very simple. You need to do something. So how do we instruct? To do that, we say print. So print is a function. So whenever you want to instruct something to your computer, you write a function. You say, hey, print, hello world. Your compiler will say, okay, I will do it. I mean, your computer will say, okay, I will do it. And run. And again, you got an error. See, it has a particular syntax to it. So when you say print, it has a syntax. Again, we'll talk about the detailed syntax later. So there are certain syntax which you have to remember. So the syntax here is system.out.print. Why system? Why out? We'll do that in some time. Don't worry. And now, if you run this code, it will still give you error. And this time, one of the best way to solve errors is read errors. Normally your compiler literally tells you everything, what is wrong. So your compiler says, in this code, which is hello.java, there's an error. And your compiler was expecting class, interface, enum, or record, but what you are giving is this line. So basically what your compiler says is everything should be a part of a class. Okay, why class? That we'll see later. But Java says everything should be a part of a class and a class should have a name to it. And as of now, I'm just saying hello. Open the class and close it here. So that's how you open a class. This is a block basically. So whatever you write, make sure that you put that inside a class. Okay, so in VS Code, how do you get this terminal? It's very simple. Just click on this terminal and say new terminal. That's it. How much is the battery left? 2. Okay. Cool. So basically what we're doing is we are writing a class. So that's what Java was expecting, right? Java was saying, hey, there's a class. And now you're saying there is a class. My code is inside the class. And now Java says, okay, I got the class, but we have some more issues. It says, this is not a proper identifier. Whenever you create a class and whenever you try to execute a statement, your statement should be a part of a method or a function. Now, why function is because when you're trying to do something, when you're performing an action, that is a behavior. You're doing something, right? You're trying to print something. So that's a behavior. And this behavior should be a part of a function. So when you're trying to execute something, it should be a part of a function. And the function name should always be main. And put that in a block. So this statement will be a part of a block. And then make sure that this main is public static void main. Why these 3 extra words? We'll see that later. As of now, this is the syntax which you have to follow. Say class hello, public static void main, and this statement. So what we are doing is we are saying, hey, everything is available inside this class hello. This is a starting point, which is main, and this is a statement which I want to execute. But main has a particular signature to it. This is how you write main. Again, why this statement? That we'll say later. Why exactly string and all those things. See, we'll go step by step and we'll focus on those things as well. Okay, and now let's run this. Do you think it will work? It should, right? And compile, there's no problem. Let me just clear the screen once again and say compile once again. Oh, this is the first time our code is compiled. That is great. Compilation done. The next step is to run this code. Okay, so when you say compile, you say Java C and you mention the file name. When you want to run this code, you simply say Java and you mention your, you mention the class name. You mention this name, which is hello. So go back here and say hello, enter, and we got our output, which is hello world. I don't know why we got this extra percentage symbol. Just ignore that. There is some special entry happening. Ignore that. So basically we are compiling it and we are running it. Okay, the only thing is if the moment you make some changes in the code, always compile it and run it. Okay, why just printing percentage? No, we'll see that later. Why it is giving that error. Java C hello dot Java. If you know the answer, write that in the chat window. So that's it. This is our first code. Now all these resources, the nodes which I mentioned here will be available in the portal. So we'll find the portal link in the description. I will add that in description. Or you can go to Aniron courses, enroll there, and you will get the access to the dashboard. So yeah, that's it from the first session. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your experience. I will take up some questions here and make sure tomorrow we have this Menti game. Okay. Oh, my entire screen was not shared. I guess it was shared. The entire screen was shared. See that S is actually given by the IDE. I have not typed it. Okay, great. Sound not coming. That's weird. Okay, so that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching this and hit that like button if you enjoyed. Make sure that you share this video with your friends as well. And also give me some feedback how the session was. And see you tomorrow. Tomorrow again, 7 p.m., same channel. In fact, there's a Hindi series going on as well. So if you want to watch the same series in Hindi, you can search for Telusko Hindi channel on YouTube. There's a slight change in the Hindi videos, but we'll continue with that. So search for Hindi, Java, Telusko Hindi. What is public static void? We'll discuss that tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow. As I mentioned, we'll do everything step by step. As of now, don't focus on that. Okay. Graham Pawar says, lovely session, sir. Thank you so much for the lesson. It's my pleasure. I enjoyed my session today. Tomorrow at which time? Same time? 7 p.m. So that's it, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow. मजा आ गया ना अभी